whistle blow, telling us it's time to go. I hear the plane roar overhead, I fear for whom will wind up dead. I hear the bombs a mile away, inching closer every day. I hear my children cry in fear, praying next we won't be near. Thank you very much, and welcome to tonight's show. It's a special one, and it's called Have We Forgotten? With the news headlines being dominated by yet another war on the other side of the world, I feel like it's important to root ourselves down to the earth and look for the humanity within all this, because we know it's there. And it doesn't go away if we stop thinking about it. And since this Saturday is Veterans Day, I thought I'd start with a prayer for the soldiers who died while fighting. Let them in, Peter. They are very tired. Give them couches where the angels sleep, and light those fires. Let them wake whole again to brand new dawns, fired by the sun, not wartime's bloody gun. May their peace be deep. Remember where the broken bodies lie. God knows how young they were to have to die. God knows how young they were to have to die. So give them things they like. Let them make some noise. Give dance hall bands, not golden harps, to these our boys. And let them love Peter, for they've had no time. They should have trees, bird songs, and hills to climb. The taste of summer in a ripened pear, and girls sweet as meadow wind with flowing hair. Tell them how they are missed, but say not to fear. It's gonna be alright with us down here. Let them in, Peter. Let them in, Peter. Let them in, Peter. So, it's way too easy for us to see the images you see on the news with the Gaza Strip in ruins and rockets constantly flying through the air, day and night, and turn the other way. I'll admit I'm guilty of this. Keep in mind that this show tonight is brought to you by a normal guy who has no clue what he's talking about. I'm just trying to organize my thoughts, my own thoughts, in the only way I know how. But why is it so easy to just ignore it? Well, it's because it's happening over there. It's very likely that most, if not all of us, will never see that kind of destruction and bloodshed firsthand. So it's easy to brush it off when it's happening over there, as opposed to over here. But think about it for a second. Yes, we're separated by thousands of miles of sea and land, but it's still the same planet. They see the same sun and moon rise every day as we do. The same blue sky, the same white clouds. There is no over there. It's all over here. There's no far away. There is no more far away. So these dreams of the Wild West will lead us astray. There is no more far away. When the war had gone on too long, and the crowd said the troops should come home, this blue planet turning alone, the troops had never been gone. For there's no far away. There is no more far away. So these dreams of the Wild West will lead us astray. There is no more far away. When the missiles are waiting to fly and rip through the innocent sky, if we swing out our 6 guns like the sheriff on high, it's not just the bad guys who die. These changes cannot be denied. We live close to the world's other side. That can save us or kill us, it's time to decide. But the past is no safe place to hide, 'cause there's no far away. There is no more far away. So these dreams of the Wild West will lead us astray. There is no more far away. There is no more far away. That was No Far Away by David Wilcox. There's a lot of money in war. If there wasn't, there wouldn't be so much of it. A lot of people get rich off it. There are the people who build and sell the weapons. There are the massive corporate bodies who extract and sell the natural resources that more often than not are stolen from war-torn lands. There are the politicians and lawmakers who are paid by the previous two, create laws to make it easier for them to make even more money and more power. It's a constant cycle that has gone on for a long time, and it will continue until long after we're gone. Now, let me be absolutely clear on my views. I have no respect for these people. I don't care what side of the political aisle they sit, and they are on both. All of them. I have no respect. They're always the ones to drag us into these wars, and they're never the ones to fight them. They leech off suffering peoples and races for their own personal gain. They are the ones from whom the highest-ranking generals get their marching orders. They're the only winners. Come, you masters of war, you that build the big guns, you that build the death planes, you that build all the bombs, you that hide behind walls, you that hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your masks. You that never done nothing but build to destroy. You play with my world like it's your little toy. You put a gun in my hands and you hide from my eyes, and you turn and run farther while the fast bullets fly. Like Judas of old, you lie and deceive. A world war can be won. You want me to believe, but I see through your eyes, and I see through your brain, like I see through the water that runs down my drain. You fasten all the triggers for the others to fire. Then you sit back and watch when the death count gets higher. You hide in your mansion as young people's blood flows out of their bodies and is buried in the mud. You've thrown the worst fear that could ever be hurled. That's the fear to bring children into the world, for threatening my baby, unborn and unnamed. But you ain't worth the blood that runs in your veins. How much do I know to talk out of turn? You might say that I'm young, you might say I'm unlearned, but there's one thing I know, though I'm younger than you, that even Jesus would never forgive what you do. Let me ask you one Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? Well, I think you will find when your death takes its toll, all the money you made will never buy back your soul. And I hope that you die and your death will come soon. I'll follow your casket in the pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered down to your deathbed, and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. War has never made sense to me, even as a kid. On September 11th, 2001, I was 10 years old. I remember my school principal rushing into the cafeteria at early morning assembly and breaking the news to a shocked faculty and student body. Many of us, including myself, couldn't wrap our heads around what we were just told or what it meant. I remember seeing the images of destruction being looped on every news channel constantly that day. I remember my mother being glued to the television. I remember learning that my hometown lost exactly 16 people in the attacks. I remember the United States collectively grieving over the immense loss of life. I remember the immense spiritual uplift in the face of such a tragedy and a renewed sense of patriotism in people of all backgrounds. It was one of the few things in recent memory that the left and the right could actually agree on for once. But I also remember the declaration of war by President Bush. I remember the bombs being dropped on Afghanistan and later in Iraq, ground troops being brought in to fight for freedom. I remember seeing all of those images on the news constantly. And even as a 10-year-old, it didn't make any sense to me. I read the paper, I watch the news. Seems there's only pain and suffering, there ain't much that I can do. It's so senseless, I feel defenseless, so small. I could shut my windows, bolt my doors, but if I don't feel safe enough to speak my mind anymore, then what's the use? Got nothing left to lose, no further to fall. So I'm gonna love, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna dream, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and give everything until there's nothing left to give. That's the only way that I know how to live. It was a nightmare, no tongue could tell how the streets of New York City look just like the gates of hell in a flash. The smoke and the ash falling down like rain. But they circled wagons, they gathered around I seek vengeance? What comes of war? I know freedom has a price, but it doesn't keep score. It's too much to swallow. It leaves me hollow after all this time. Now I won't tell you what to believe, 'cause I'm too young to be so cynical. I'm too old to be naive. Well, every action breeds a reaction, so let this be mine. I'm gonna love, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna dream, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and give everything until there's nothing left to give. That's the only way I know how to live. Oh, I'm gonna love, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna dream, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and give everything until there's nothing left to give. That's the only way I know how to live. That's the only way that I know how. That was The Only Way by Mark Orelli. How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? How many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? This next song takes place at the height of the Cold War, a different kind of war.
We begin by interlacing the hands at the base of your...
And it's sung from the point of view of two characters. The first verse is from a bankrupt farmer here in the United States. The second verse is from an old man from the Soviet Union. The third verse is from both of them. I am the son of a grassland farmer, Western Oklahoma, 1943. I always felt grateful to live in the land of the free. I gave up my father to South Korea, the mind of my brother to Vietnam. Now there is a banker who says I must give up my land. There are 4 generations of blood in this topsoil, 4 generations of love on this farm. Before I give up, I would gladly give up my right arm. What are we making weapons for? Why keep on feeding the war machine? We take it right out of the mouths of our babies, take it away from the hands of the poor. Tell me, what are we making weapons for? I had a son, and my son was a soldier. He was so like my father, he was so much like me. To be a good comrade was the best that he dreamed he could be. He gave up his future for revolution, his life to a battle that just can't be won. For this is not living, to live at the point of a gun. I remember the 900 days of Leningrad, the sound of the dying, the cut of the coal. I remember the moments I prayed I would never grow old. What are we making weapons for? Why keep on feeding the war machine? We take it right out of the mouths of our babies, take it away from the hands of the poor. Tell me, what are we making weapons for? For the first time in my life, I feel like a prisoner, a slave to the ways of the powers that be. And I fear for my children as I fear for the future I see. Tell me, how can it be we're still fighting each other? What does it take for a people to learn? If our song is not sung as a chorus, we surely will burn. What are we making weapons for? Why keep on feeding the war machine? We take it right out of the mouths of our babies, take it away from the hands of the poor. Tell me, what are we making weapons for? This could be the last time. If peace is our vision, let us begin. Have we forgotten all the lives that were given, all the vows that were taken, saying never again, never again. Now for the first time, this could be the last time. If peace is our vision, let us begin, let us begin. That was Let Us Begin, What Are We Making Weapons For by John Denver. The previous song touched on this one here. We spend a lot of money on war here in the U.S. And it's a well-known fact that over half of our discretionary spending goes into defense. Bill Hicks once remarked that all of the money we spend on guns and bombs can instead go towards the poor of the world, feeding, clothing, and educating them all, many times over, not one human being excluded. And he offered the world a choice between fear and love. And I quote, "The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one." Bill Hicks died shortly after saying this. This is the only other original song I'm playing tonight. It's about fear. Fear for the future, fear of our children, and fear for the world. This is I Saw My Child. I saw my child in the clearing in the rain, so clear and yet so dark. Despite the storm that creeps from the distance, he sings like a meadowlark. The eagle soars, the thunder roars. I saw my child as innocence blinds him. Lightning takes its mark. I saw my child as he willingly fell in the arms of a docile beast. A gentle smile betrays the hunger, sharpened swords on his teeth. Generations poor have let this monster roar. I saw my child as it woke from its slumber. Into his flesh it sinks. I saw my child as he raised his hand, asking for peace and for love. The guard he laughs and orders his men to stone, to shame and to shove. Broken and resigned, he gets back in line. I see my child as he dies to a shell, and I weep from heaven above. I see my child as he dies to a shell, and I weep from heaven above. Now, when soldiers come home, they're never the same. They come back scarred, hardened, mentally ill, physically wounded, dead, or dead from the neck up. They leave behind a piece of their mind, body, or soul when they're overseas, oftentimes all three. And the next battle they have to face is living a normal life with these ailments. They change their lives, and never for the better. And the people around them notice. They can tell when their soldier's son or daughter comes home and that they have changed permanently. And it changes them as well, wondering if all that fighting was really worth it. When John Brown went off to war to fight on a foreign shore, his mother sure was proud of him. And he stood straight and tall in his uniform and all. His mother's face broke out into a grin. Oh son, you look so fine, I'm glad you're a son of mine. You make me proud to know you hold a gun. Do what the captain says, lots of medals you will get, and we'll put them on the wall when you get home. When that train pulled out, John's ma began to shout, telling everybody in the neighborhood, that's my son that's about to go, he's a soldier now, you know. She made well sure her neighbors understood. She got a letter once in a while, and her face broke into a smile. She showed them to the people from next door. And she bragged about her son with his uniform and gun, and these things he called a good old-fashioned war. Then the letters ceased to come. For a long time they never came. They ceased to come for about 9 months or more. Then a letter finally came saying, go down and meet the train. Your sons are coming home from the war. She smiled and went right down. She looked up and all around, but she did not see her soldier son inside. But as all the people passed, she saw her son at last, and when she did, she could not believe her eyes. His face was all shot up, and his hands were both blown off, and he wore a metal brace around his waist. He whispered kinda slow in a voice she did not know, while she couldn't even recognize his face. Oh dear, my darling son, tell me what to you they've done. How is it that you come to be this way? His mouth could hardly move as he tried his best to talk, and she did not even recognize his face. Don't you remember, Ma, when I went off to war. You thought it was the best thing I could do. I was on the battleground, you were home acting proud. You weren't there standing in my shoes. And I thought when I was there, God, oh, what am I doing here? Am I trying to kill somebody or die trying? But as the enemy came close, the thing that hurt me most is that his face looked just like mine. And I couldn't help but think through the thunder sound and stink that I was just a puppet in a play. No, through the roaring smoke, this string it finally broke, and a cannonball blew my eyes away. And as he turned to walk, his ma was still in shock at seeing the metal brace that helped him stand. But as he turned to go, he called his mother close, and he dropped his medals down into her hands. That was John Brown by Bob Dylan. Now, eventually, this war in the Holy Land will fade away from the news and therefore our minds, and we'll just assume it's all over. But it won't be over. It'll never be over. War-torn areas of the world don't just become filled with sunshine, flowers, rainbows, and unicorns when it's all said and done. Oftentimes these countries are poor and their people are oppressed, and that doesn't change once victory's been declared. Unrest will likely continue. It might even get worse than how we left it. Just look at Iraq. And the people will still suffer while we're on the other side of the world. Out of sight, out of mind. And you say that the battle is over, and you say that the war is all done. Go tell it to those with the wind in their nose, who run from the sound of the gun. And write it on the sides of the great whaling ships, or on ice floes where conscience is tossed. With the wild in their eyes, it is they who must die, and we who must measure the loss. And you say that the battle is over, and finally the world is at peace. You mean no one is dying, and mothers don't weep, or it's not in the papers at least. There are those who would deal in darkness of life. There are those who would tear down the sun. And most men are ruthless, but some will still weep when the gifts we weren't given are gone. Now the blame cannot rest on the heads of the few. It's become such a part of the race. It's eternally tragic that that which is magic be killed at the end of the glorious chase. From young seals to great whales, from waters to wood, they will fall just like weeds in the wind. With fur coats and perfumes and trophies on walls, what a hell of a race to call men. And you say that the battle is over, and you say that the war was all done. Well, go tell it to those with the wind in their nose, who run from the sound of the gun. And riding on the sides of the great whaling ships, or on ice floes where consciences toss. With the wild in their eyes, it is they who must die, and it's we who must measure the loss. With the wild in their eyes, it is they who must die, and it's we who must measure the cost. That was You Say the Battle Is Over by David Mallet. To the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the early British wars. The young land started growing, young blood started flowing, but I ain't marching anymore. Oh, I killed my share of Injuns in 1,000 different fights. I was there at the Little Big Horn. I heard many men lying, I saw many more dying, but I ain't marching anymore. It's always the old that lead us to the wars, and always the young to fall. Now look at what we've won with a saber and a gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I stole California from the Mexican land. I fought in the bloody Civil War. Yes, I even killed my brothers and so many others, but I ain't marching anymore. For I marched to the Battle of the German Trench in a war that was supposed to end all wars. Oh, I must have killed 1,000,000 men, and now they want me back again, but I ain't marching anymore. It's always the old that lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at what we've won with a saber and a gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I flew the final mission in the Japanese sky. I set off the mighty mushroom roar, but I saw the cities burning, and I knew that I was learning that I ain't marching anymore. Now the labor leaders screaming when they close the missile plant. United Fruit screams at the Cuban shore. Call it peace or call it treason, call it love or call it reason, but I ain't marching anymore. Yes, I ain't marching anymore. So what now? What now? I got no clue. No clue at all. I used to think I did, but now I know that I don't know anything. The only thing I can really do is cling to my values and speak up when I feel the need to. I don't do this show tonight for praise or admiration. I do it because I believe I need to. If you agree with me, that's great. If my words get you thinking more about your views on this, that's great too. If you think I'm talking out of my ass and you hate my guts now, That's perfectly fine. It's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last. It's heartbreaking to lose a friend because of something I said on stage or on stream, but I move on from it. In the end, I would rather be hated for standing up for what I believe in than universally loved for putting on an act and keeping my mouth shut. And so, to close out tonight's show, I want to repeat what I said last month when the Israel-Hamas war began. I firmly believe that there are no good guys in this war, as with any other war in modern times. It's just two power-hungry sides fighting each other and innocent bystanders who end up caught in the crossfires. They're the ones who really pay the price. I'm also sick and tired of hearing all of the infighting among us here in the United States, name-calling and accusing people of being pro-this or anti-that for having a different opinion on this war. Throwing accusations into the ether like that doesn't do anything productive. It only seeks to divide us further than we already are. It also legitimizes people who actually are all of those horrible things. Just remember, while we're doing this over here, people are dying every day over here. I pray for peace in the Holy Land and across the world. Lost my mind, but I regained my senses again. Looked into my heart to find that I believe that one fine day all the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. Just a fool, but I don't remember learning how to hate in Sunday school. But somewhere along the way I strayed, and I never looked back again. But I still find some comfort now and then. Then the storm comes rumbling in, and I can't lay me down, and the drums are drumming again. But I can't stand the sound, but I believe there will come a day when the lion and the lamb will lie down in peace together in Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a great pleasure. I'll be back on stream again next week, back to our usual MO. It'll be a bit of a shorter stream. I'm going to NERFA this weekend. I'll be playing in a bunch of different places down in Asbury Park. And I'll be playing a show in Rutherford, New Jersey as well on Sunday afternoon. So maybe I'll see you there. But for tonight, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for being here and putting up with my ramblings, if you will. Again, it's been a great pleasure. And I will see you all next week. And I say it especially this week of importance. Peace and love, you guys.